Snake.
All right. Well, welcome to the first travel edition of our Lunch Club of 2026, where for this month we'll be looking at 2026 month, where we'll just be doing an overview so we can kind of do a deep
Yeah.
dive for the next few months. So this time we'll be looking at culinary journeys across the world because food is in every culture and it's important to our and
Mhm.
essential for our survival. So have some videos, some articles, and just some great discussions today. So we're going to be taking a look at a few things. So always keep an open mind. So without further ado, Lou, I would love for you to read this for us. Again, I just Googled this
Yes,
question.
yes, we're so excited to have everybody. Welcome to the Lunch Club Travel Edition. Today's focus, and maybe for the next few sessions, will be on culinary journeys. Uh, Now, you never want
Oh,
to go
well,
anywhere
actually, it'll be
without the Harlem
2026.
Globetrotters, which, Alex has with him right now. Uh,
Yes, it's 2026 month, so we may look at music or art or anything next time. So it'll be a hodgepodge of stuff. Just today on food. All
all
right,
right.
so
Oh, just today on food? Okay, Alex.
mhm.
All right. Well, food is crucial in different cultures because it embodies the identity, history, values, acting as a powerful tool for social bonding, expressive love, preserving the heritage through shared meals and traditions, while also bridging gaps between communities and generations by telling stories of people's geography, struggles, and triumphs. It's more than sustenance. It's a language that defines us from them and connects individuals to their past and community. Well,
Mhm.
that's really true, you know? That's really true.
Mhm. Wow.
Mhm. It
Yeah,
sure
maybe
it
maybe we all should get more into what's the food folks eat because that really is important. Should I keep reading, Alex?
yes, and just any comments from the group whenever.
Well, let's read about some of these key roles. So, identity and heritage, recipes and food customs are passed down, connecting people to their ancestors and reinforcing cultural identity, like making tamales for Christmas in a new country. Social connection, sharing meals fosters belonging, builds deep relationship, and serves as a universal way to bond from family dinners to casual meetups. That's true. There's nothing like having a meal together, right? What is that about bonding? You really bond at a meal together.
Yeah.
And social connection is so important for humans, and we talk about it for seniors especially, but for anyone, having that social connection is important, not just the food, but
Mhm.
to enjoy
Yeah.
it together. And
Well,
the point before about identity, that's history. So food and history have a very big connection together.
So, food expresses love, the Korean love language, care and emotions with customs like Spain's Samba Mesa, never heard of that, emphasizing a connection over a mere eating. Well, that's really true.
Mhm.
History and geography, ingredients and cooking methods reflect a region's climate, history, trade, like tomatoes becoming central to Italian cuisine. Yeah, that's interesting because weren't tomatoes a New World crop? So they couldn't have, they can't date back with Italy too far. I need to research that. I think tomatoes originally came from South America.
They,
Ritual.
yep, they were.
I think so.
The wild ancestors, but they were brought
Mhm.
to Europe when the Spanish conquistadors brought tomatoes to Europe
Yeah.
in the
I'm
1500s.
done. Spanish
So,
was.
so really, pizza and spaghetti sauce. Obviously that cannot date back farther than 1492.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, but in Europe, it was used in Aztecs in Mexico. They transformed it. It was yellow at first, but then it became red. So, food showcases where things came from, and that, we're all part of different cultures, even if you don't think about it every day.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, food plays vital roles in religious ceremonies and celebrations, from birthday cakes in America to specific festivals, foods in India. Bridge between cultures. Trying another's culture food opens doors to understanding their stories, fostering appreciation, and breaking down barriers. All right. Well, that may be enough there, Alex.
And just some examples.
Sure. So, having what you've eaten, a common greeting, showing care, notes this IES blog. Spanish culture, a post-meal relaxation time, sombre mesa. Isn't that siesta? Highlights the importance of conversation and connection according to IES broad log. That is interesting that after lunch there is like a people take a nap in Spain. That's a little unusual.
Yes.
Over Mesa.
Mhm.
Yeah. Indian culture, specific sweets like laddu are essential for festivals like Diwali. Didn't we learn about Diwali, Alex?
Up in our daily emails as well.
There was a whole thing about, isn't that the one where they throw the ink around and all that?
Yep, the Festival of Lights. And we
Linking
learned about the
traditions across generations. States Medium article. All right. Well, thanks, Alex.
Yeah, I just thought this was important because I mean, when you're eating other people's foods, like breaking down barriers, why eat their food if you don't like the people? Like, it's especially US, we're a hodgepodge of cultures. So I feel like people should be more understanding and of each other in many different ways. So, it's kind of I hope you enjoyed Lou and the seniors and kind of thought food in a different way.
Yeah, I think I have something to learn here. Maybe I've been leaving an experience on the table.
Let's look at the top 10 foods that were sacred in ancient cultures.
What is that?
Food has always played an
Is
essential
that
role in human
fish?
cultures, not just for sustenance but also for spiritual and ritualistic purposes. In ancient times, certain foods were revered for their symbolic meaning, believed to have divine connections or the power to provide spiritual nourishment. These sacred foods were often used in ceremonies, sacrifices, and offerings to gods.
Any thoughts on that? Is this something new that you've realized, or have you always thought in this way? Any thoughts? Food is just, not just for eating, but it had a lot of meaning,
Yeah,
even way back when.
yeah, in certain cultures, there was sometimes religious things were ceremonies and stuff were associated with certain things.
Yes.
Like fishes. In the Bible, God took the fishes and multiplied them and fed the people.
hmm Oh
So,
yeah, we're gonna learn a lot about that. So you're right on the money, Anne. So yes, food has history, it's ancient, I hope you all enjoy.
Here are the top 10 foods that were sacred in ancient cultures. 1. Bread, Ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, bread was more than just a staple food, it was considered a gift from the gods. The Egyptians believed that bread was a symbol of life and sustenance, as well as a connection to their deities. During religious ceremonies, bread was offered to the gods, and pharaohs were often buried with bread to ensure their survival in the afterlife.
Did you know that, Lou and seniors?
Yeah, I read that a good while
I,
ago.
I read that too.
So
I'm going.
maybe Cleopatra had a bread with her.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's just interesting that
She
they
needed
put
a lot of other things with her.
they put that item in the casket with the person. That's just it's food for thought.
The afterlife.
yeah.
2. Corn, Mesoamerican cultures. Corn, or maize, was central to the cultures of ancient Mesoamerica, including the Aztecs and Mayans. It was considered the food of the gods, and was believed to have been created by the gods themselves. Maize was so important that it played a key role in creation myths, and many Mesoamerican rituals involved offerings of corn to deities, ensuring good harvests and the continued prosperity of the people.
I love me some corn. What do you all think? Aztecs, Mayans, corn. I heavily associate corn with them. I
Yeah,
learned that at very young, so it's very important.
yeah.
Again, think of the areas, of where they were, South America,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
People. 3. Olives, ancient Greece. The olive tree was sacred to the ancient Greeks, especially in the city of Athens, where the goddess Athena was said to have gifted the tree to humanity. Olives and olive oil were central to Greek life, used in cooking, religious rituals, and as offerings to gods. The olive branch symbolized peace and was often presented to victors in the Olympic Games. 4. Rice.
Oh, that was any thoughts on that? I know you've been in Greece, Lou, but the olive branch symbol, like, but any thoughts on this?
I remember reading that, how they offered those, in the games and stuff like that, just for history, not that I just pursued it on my own, but I would read a lot. And so I read things like that.
It's interesting with some of these olive trees are like 1,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They're really amazing. Yeah.
Games. 4. Rice, ancient India. In ancient India, rice was considered a sacred food, closely tied to religious rituals and festivals. It symbolized life and prosperity, and offerings of rice were made to various deities, including the goddess Annapurna, the goddess of food and nourishment. Rice was also used in Hindu marriage ceremonies, where it was thrown as a symbol of fertility and prosperity.
I never knew Annapurna, goddess of food, and maybe that could be a thing that you do, throw rice.
Well, at marriage
Wedding.
ceremonies
Wedding.
in America, we used to
Wedding,
throw rice at the
We
couple
do.
as they left the church.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they used to throw rice.
did that. Yeah.
We used to throw it for wedding to
Yeah.
In
When
your
the
home
bride and
country,
the
Louise?
groom.
In your home country, Louise, or here?
In my country, we used to throw the rice on the couple. Also, we used to have goat meat. If you don't have curried goat at your wedding, then everybody say, "Wow, you're cheap."
Oh, well, look at that. Different cultures, India and in your country, Louise, in America, the rice, it's multicultural, isn't that
Yeah.
But it certainly does symbolize life and prosperity. A bowl of rice is so essential in so many cultures, so that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I remember throwing rice at the weddings.
We
Definitely.
Yeah, that meant that
Yeah.
it was for fertility,
Right.
prosperity, and good fortune when you throw rice.
Mm-hmm.
I know that phrase. They still use that phrase now, Brenda, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And not in the vows, but like what the person says doing they use that phrase. So Oh, I love it.
5. Honey, ancient Egypt and Greece. Honey was revered in both ancient Egypt and Greece, seen as a gift from the gods. In Egypt, honey was used in religious offerings to the gods and was thought to have divine properties, such as healing powers. In ancient Greece, honey was often associated with immortality and was used in various rituals, including offerings to the gods and as a key ingredient in sacred foods. 6. Wine, ancient Greece and Rome. Wine held a significant place in ancient Greek and Roman culture, both as a daily beverage and a sacred offering. In ancient Greece, wine was associated with Dionysus, the god of wine, fertility, and revelry. Roman rituals and ceremonies often included wine as a central offering, used to honor the gods and mark significant events, from triumphs to weddings. 7. Cacao, Aztecs and Mayans. The Aztecs and Mayans held cacao in the highest regard. For the Aztecs, cacao beans were considered a divine gift from the god Quetzalcoatl and were even used as currency.
Even used as money.
Oh.
Amazing.
Wow.
Chocolate
I never
drinks
heard
made from
that.
cacao were reserved for the elite and were often consumed during religious ceremonies, believed to provide strength and vitality. Cacao was also used in offerings to gods to ensure the prosperity of the community. 8.
So just always think when you eat a piece of chocolate. It's
Fish.
It's amazing how many
Fish,
like
ancient
world-changing foods came from the New World.
Egypt and Mesopotamia.
Look,
In
fish.
ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, fish was considered a sacred food linked to fertility and abundance. Fish were often depicted in art and offered as sacrifices to gods to ensure bountiful harvests and the health of the people. In some Mesopotamian cultures, fish was associated with the god Enki, the deity of water and creation, and was often used in rituals and feasts.
I love a good piece of salmon.
9. Lotus, ancient Egypt and
Oh, I'm so interested in this
Lotus? You can
India.
eat lotus?
The lotus flower
You can eat lotus petals.
flower had deep
Really?
spiritual significance in ancient Egypt and India.
You can make teas out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was associated with rebirth, creation, and the sun. In ancient Egypt, the lotus was connected to the sun god Ra, and the flower was often featured in religious art and offered during ceremonies. In India, the lotus represents purity and enlightenment in Hinduism and Buddhism, and the seeds and flowers were used in offerings and rituals. 10. Barley, ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt. Barley was one of the first domesticated grains and was sacred in both ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt. In Mesopotamian culture, barley was considered a gift from the gods and was used in offerings. The Egyptians also valued barley, using it as a primary ingredient in bread and beer, both of which had religious significance. Barley was often associated with fertility and the afterlife, as it was thought to sustain both the living and the dead. These foods, revered by ancient cultures, represent more than just nourishment. They are symbols of life, prosperity, and divine favor. Through rituals and offerings, they connected people with their gods, ensuring that the balance of nature and society would continue. Even today, some of these foods continue to hold spiritual significance, reminding us of their ancient sacred roots.
Everything from corn to lotus to cacao
What
to
did you
olives,
saying? I don't want you.
wine to honey. What'd you think of this video, y'all? Any thoughts? And when you eat these foods, just know that they may have divine properties.
But we never know.
Many of them are essential to this day.
Yeah, they are.
All
Like
of
we
them,
drink
right? All of
wine.
them.
We
Mhm.
drink wine the first of the month when we have communion at church.
Yes.
And we use bread, but we use crackers to symbolize the body of Christ. So we do those things here now.
Yeah, we use matzah also for the
Bread. There's so many different kinds of breads and different cultures. So even if they're different, they're used in the same purpose. So
wow.
Yeah.
oh yeah, fertility, abundance. Fish. In Japan, they live really, really long because they eat lots and lots of fish.
Lots of fish.
Yes, it's so good for all the wonderful nutrients and minerals it has. And I was so interested about the lotus and the raw, the sun god and just where you've heard these terms and before in pop culture and media, it's quite fulfilling to know.
So what do you use the lotus as?
Right, yeah.
You can use lotus and mainly tea. What can you use lotus flower for? So it can be used in ancient cultures, from the seeds to the roots, the leaves, the petals and pollens. There's skincare, digestive health. They make lotus into beauty products. You can use the leaves brewed into tea. You can use as natural wraps.
Yeah, the tea part.
There's so many, yeah, it represents purity, enlightenment, and rebirth. But it's also used in lots of Asian art and architecture, and beautiful textiles are made. So,
Oh, look, this is used for stress. Wait a minute. Stress and sleep,
yeah.
insomnia. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so as you see, these ancient foods, they weren't just for sustenance, they were, also, they were very good for folks. So, when you think of these foods, you kind of know their origins and
Barley.
that they're, you should feel good about eating them. This article right here is from a high school. It just happened to see that it was recent. So, Lou, I would love for you to read it and share your experiences as well, please.
Sure, yeah. I was just Googling Lotus because I always liked the Lotus car, the Lotus Esprit, and I've just always been curious about Lotus. It looks like a lily pad, doesn't it?
It's very beautiful.
It does.
Yeah.
Where would you get it? Probably the health food store.
Whole Foods. I mean, you could, I would literally just search like where to buy it in DC and your favorite grocery store. But there's the Asians, specialty stores, or
Okay.
I bet you can find it.
So a flower on a lily pad, is that a lotus then?
Yeah, you can use all the parts of the lotus
They
to
put it in salad also.
The salad,
I,
right?
I remember they say it's edible. I said, "What is this?" They said it's edible flowers.
Edible flowers. They're so beautiful. Oh, this is more than a meal, how food culture differs around the world.
By the way, one last word on the lotus flower. It says, while they look similar and are often confused, a flower growing directly on a lily pad is almost always a water lily, not a
Yeah.
lotus.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
don't you all go picking lily pad flowers and putting them in your
No,
coffee.
I don't know.
just
I
no.
didn't know.
Not the lily pads.
Wouldn't even know where to go to get a lily pad.
Yeah.
But
All
over
right.
at the Arboretum.
Okay, here we go. So, what time people eat dinner? Oh my God, this is fascinating. What time people eat dinner can say a lot about their culture, and the differences between the United States, France, and Spain are striking. Food is an important part of every culture. While Americans often eat quickly to fit busy schedules, people in France and Spain spend more time eating and treasuring meals as time for family and social connection. These differences can be seen when meals are eaten, how long they last, and how much value is placed in food. This is fascinating. In France, meals are treated as an important part of family and social life. Breakfast, known as le petit déjeuner, is typically light and consists of bread with butter and jam, croissants, or coffee. Fresh bread is a normality when it comes to French culture. Visiting bakeries and making fresh food is very common as opposed to buying packaged and processed foods. Leading into lunchtime in France, in many cases, workers go home to eat, and children may have leave school for lunch. Many shops close for a few hours because long breaks are prioritized for socializing and eating, leaving lunch breaks to last up to 2 hours at times. Dinner, or le dîner, is the most important meal of the day and is traditionally eaten with a family between 7:30 p.m. and 8:45 p.m. That's one thing that's striking for me. All over the world, like in Africa, they don't eat dinner until 8 o'clock at the earliest.
Wow.
Every, yeah, it's really different than us. Meals are enjoyed slowly and usually include multiple courses such as salad, main dish, and cheese served before dessert and fruit. Watching television during dinner is considered poor etiquette. It
Yeah.
really is, isn't it, folks? You
Yeah.
really shouldn't do that.
We couldn't talk either.
And talking on and looking at those cell phones while you eat. Hey, I wish they would stop that too.
Mm,
Yeah. My
mm,
parents would always yell at me if I was watching TV at dinner.
No, we couldn't do that. And we have to make fresh food almost every day.
yeah,
I,
I
Mhm.
love
where was that? Where was that?
At home in Jamaica, we make fresh food. We don't buy
Mhm.
anything from the store for dinner, like already made sandwiches. No way. I've never done that.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And in a lot of cultures, and
Mm.
this bit about TV is so interesting. I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, but in all essence, we should all, be sitting at a dinner table, just enjoying each other's company.
Yeah, not
Yeah, so
TV.
I like the
true.
I like the thought of it, and America, we are kind of little, busy, busy, busy.
Yeah,
So
we're busy,
uh,
but we're getting better. We're being mindful when we eat
yes,
now. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
And there was no telephone. There was no telephone when you were
No,
having dinner.
no
Right.
TV. We didn't have
Yeah.
a TV.
I
We didn't answer
Didn't
the
have one either, Louise.
was rude. You just
No,
didn't answer the
it's
phone.
different. It's different times. So,
Mhm.
it's just interesting to think about the changes.
Well, but even though it's poor etiquette that you watch TV, but when I cook and they come over, we watch TV while
No,
Yeah,
I
we
don't.
eat.
I don't
We
even watch
do.
I'm
TV
not
near
in my house.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong. And you know what I would say, to each their own. Everyone's a bit different, as long as it's spending, quality
Yeah.
time,
Hmm.
Oh
enjoying each
yeah,
other's
yeah,
company. Because you can watch TV together and fuss and muss, but if you're enjoying and learning something and being together and having, good thoughts with each other, then I think that's better
yeah.
than the
Yeah.
opposite.
I still
So
That's what we do. And today is Wednesday.
But
Yeah, they
you
come
I know
over.
today's
enjoy.
your day, Brenda.
I still
Wednesday
don't.
is my day.
I know it's your day, so I hope you find something good to watch. Again, this article is from a high school, so it's kind of interesting to see his perspective.
You know what, though? I don't know how you all feel about this, but I think our younger generations are losing the ability to have like one-on-one or group conversations without media going on. You
Right.
know, it almost creates an uncomfortable situation for them if you sit them
Mm-hmm.
around to talk to each other, because not that they're bad people or anything, it's just that they're not used to that, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the TV watching these days and telephone calling during meals and things like that is a way of avoiding the uncomfortableness of having to like talk to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Mm,
I see that. I see, to be honest with you, I see that a bit in my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
they don't have
They don't know how to socialize
they don't
because
have
talk to
social
enemies.
skills.
mm.
They don't know they don't know that all they know how to do is look on there and look at something on TikTok and some
Yeah.
crazy stuff
Mm.
hanging on to the back of the
Oh,
bus and
I hope
standing up
today
on a
and
car.
us being together makes you feel a little different. Not everyone's like that, but I hope I'm a different example from that because I like to when I'm around folks, I like to chit chat and just do those
Yeah.
things and just use those as a tool, not as a crutch.
Right.
Um, I hope just this session us together. Please share the knowledge and the advice that we go over with others, and you'll make a difference. You use what we learn to make a difference in your community.
And even us older generation folks, we can have an impact even now in our lives. Like when we host family dinners, whether it's Thanksgiving or birthdays or whatever it might be, have folks sit around a table, turn the TV off, ask, hey guys, don't turn your phones on, especially if you're hosting the meal. You can get the,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you can set the rules just to
Yeah.
teach the younger generation,
Yes.
how that this is a good skill to develop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We still do. We don't put no TV in no kitchen or dining room. Forget it.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
living room either.
By the way, where were
End
you
of
from
your
in
question,
Jamaica? Where in Jamaica are you from?
St. Catherine, near Spanish Town.
Oh, I don't know Jamaica at all. I've never been there.
Mm.
It sounded like you did, Lou.
No, I'm curious about it. I've always wanted to go. Were you guys devastated by that hurricane that hit, or was that a different part?
My family didn't have any problems.
Okay,
That's good.
It's on the
Good.
other side. Yeah.
okay,
Montego Bay had the problem.
Mm.
Mm.
okay.
Well, you know what, Lou? When we have family dinners over here on Wednesdays, we usually watch game shows, and we all participate. So,
Again, so,
we're talking that way and
Yeah,
guessing
yeah.
answers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all how you
that's
go about
good.
it, Brenda. Just like we shared, it's all how you go about it. It's
Oh
whether
yeah,
it's
yeah.
TV
We
and
don't look at a
you're
or
used to it.
movie or
original.
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're watching a game show, you're still talking, you're
Right.
still
We're
Yeah,
interacting
talking
with each other.
to
Yeah.
get
yeah.
answers right.
It's
Yeah.
it's all about intentions here in 2026. It's all about our
Mhm.
intent. When we do things, it's the intention behind it. So that's also
Yeah.
a thing we should and myself always think of in 2026.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
that's okay to have the TV on and watching game shows or other
Hmm.
little dramas. I
Yeah.
think that's good. I think it's
Mhm.
good for the kids.
Right.
Okay.
But switch
Uh,
it up. Switch it
If
up. Maybe
if
one
you're used to it.
Yeah.
that's
one
okay. That's good. That's good. By the way, what game shows you watch? Maybe I'll do the same. What
Well,
shows
we
do you like?
usually we usually look at The Wall or Family Feud.
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll look at Wheel of Fortune. A lot of the different game
many
shows.
Yeah, a
different.
lot of them come
Mhm.
on
Hmm.
Okay.
around dinner
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, doing dinner time.
Yeah,
That's why I love them now because I watched them growing up. So
yeah, we have fun doing that.
Hmm
And I think a lot of us in the older generation have communication skills.
of course.
Oh,
So that's why
yeah,
again we got to share with others as well and
yeah.
keep
I
communicating.
think that the older generation have if you were brought up in a conversation environment, the discussion of the what happened during the day, homework, do you need help after dinner or that type of things, and
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us that worked in offices or around people or with children have a little bit more communication skills.
Mhm.
Oh, well, again, that's why we got to keep talking to all of our members of our community. And, you know, so thank you so much for sharing.
Let's hear about Spain. So Spain follows a
Oh,
similar relaxed approach
this one
to meals.
right here, Lou. This paragraph.
Oh, I was curious about Spain. So Darren Hess, a French teacher at Penridge High School who spent time in France and French-speaking Quebec, said one of the biggest differences he noticed between French and American food culture is freshness and portion size.
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast is light and fresh. Bread is part of everyday life. Portions are small. There's more olive oil, more vegetables. People care more about quality ingredients. This quote shows his passion for France's dedication and care when it comes to their food, because food is more than a necessity, it is a way of life. Oh, that's interesting. Spain follows a similar relaxed approach to meals, though with even later eating hours. Breakfast, known as el desayuno, is the smallest meal of the day and usually consists of coffee and toast or a small pastry. Between breakfast and lunch, many people have tapas, which are small shared dishes that are meant for socializing rather than filling up. The largest meal of the day in Spain is lunch, or la comida, which typically occurs between 1:30 and 4:30 p.m. Lunch often includes multiple courses and it can last an hour and a half or longer. Schools and businesses commonly close for several hours during this time as well, and it is very common for people to take a short nap to rejuvenate themselves for the other half of the day. A Spanish teacher at Penridge High School, Sarah Surfass, expresses that meal times were one of the biggest adjustments when she spent 4 months in Spain. Lunch is the biggest meal, not dinner, and families come home to eat together, Surfass said, focusing on how different cultures can truly be, but how special they are as well. She also expressed that with dinner being a large part of socialization and connection, she felt welcome and was able to be herself in a new environment she was not used to. Finally, dinner is usually the largest meal of the day in the United States and is eaten much earlier than in France or Spain, usually between 5:30 and 6. Meals are often served as a single plated dish. Snacks are eaten throughout the day without set times. While foods themselves may differ, the biggest contrast lies in how meals are valued. In France and Spain, food is meant to be savored and shared, serving as a time for family, conversation, and connection. In the United States, meals are often emphasized efficiency. Lack of connection is so deep, and the connection that is so deeply appreciated in other cultures. Those differences highlight how food culture offers insight into the pace and priorities of everyday life around the world. Well, that's interesting, Alex.
Oh, thank you. When I read it, I just thought we are in a different world. And again, in 2026, I think it's really important if you want to have that set time with your family or even with yourself. It's really important to, have that grace and that time for yourself to enjoy those meals and just seeing how other cultures and other people are, and trying to see how you can maybe incorporate some of those ideals into your life. And
Mhm.
it may have a big benefit.
I wish they would have talked about meals in Africa or meals in China.
Oh,
That's
Meals in Africa,
yes.
another story.
Um, so let's go to thank you for that, Lou. I have a kind of some videos here. I didn't know the order, but this one I think is very appropriate. How does culture influence food? I like this channel. It's pretty cool.
How would you describe like how food reflects culture?
Food and culture go hand in hand, right? And coming from a Jamaican background, for me, it was
There you go, Jamaican background. I hope Louise, you
Yeah.
see
All
similarity.
right.
It's actually
There you
really
go.
challenging to find a sense of identity within my own culture without eating meat for my entire life. In Jamaica, they do eat a wide array of tropical fruits and vegetables, but at the end of the day, so much of what makes Jamaican culture is centered around meat.
Mhm.
I suppose food reflects culture in that the food that any person cooks is a reflection of all of their experiences that they've had, the cultures that they grew up with being in their household, the places that they've been to. If you can kind of read that language, you can see those things.
Anywhere you go in the world, first thing people do is look for the attractions and the food. From an amazing night, a meal, that can escalate into like a humongous night out with people you've never met before. It can also be a little cosy dinner for one or two. Wherever you go around the world, I think high up on the list of things is to find out where the good food is.
Food absorbs the energy of wherever it's coming from. If you are in Mexico, it's going to be spicier. There's going to be more chilies. There's going to be more herbs. There's going to be tortillas. Maize are a heavy part of it. It's just you're like literally absorbing what's in that region, in that area, especially when it's authentic and hasn't been blandified. That's what's so important to us as cooks and chefs and restaurants. We have to protect the authentic ingredients and not just use one type of tomato, but use every type of tomato. Culturally, that's what makes something so rich. You go to a place that's in the middle of nowhere and you're like, oh my God, I had the craziest chili I've ever had, because that chili still exists.
I think the other thing that I've learned, it sometimes is more than what people are eating, but also it's about the spices. When I think about jerk chicken, the main flavors you're getting there, allspice, scallion, garlic, onion, and scotch bonnet peppers, and all these different factors, you start to get this really beautiful flavor profile that shines through. How that transformed my cooking was that I got to a place where I took a step back and just focused on how can I apply these flavor profiles, these spice profiles to my vegetables, to my mushrooms, to the way that I eat, so that I can still share my culture and feel connected. And that's definitely allowed me to be closer to my Jamaican culture overall.
Culture's constantly changing for sure, and Australia particularly, we have 60,000 plus years of history here, but we don't know a lot about it, and we're not taught a lot about it. But now people are starting to inquire and look into it more, and every dish that we're serving today has at least one Australian native ingredient in it.
Australia, we haven't been there in a while.
Including one that's called kangaroo grass. So it's a flower to make our flatbread.
Anyone heard of kangaroo grass before? It's a flower.
Yeah, kangaroo grass.
Kangaroo grass. Look at the bread when it comes out.
Bread. And there's evidence of this being done like 30,000+ years ago, before anyone else in the world made bread. So we have this amazing, deep culture here that we're starting to learn about more. We have a deep culture of immigrants coming to the country, bringing all of their different ideas and techniques and cookery skills. But then we have a landscape that can grow all of these ingredients. There's nowhere else like it in the world.
How does food change when culture changes?
That's a good question. How does food change when culture changes? Did you ever think the food changes when the culture changes?
Yeah.
My grandmother's Chinese and my grandfather was Dutch. So I grew up with those cuisines being in my household. And then the way that my mother cooks them and the way that I cook them is not traditionally or strictly authentic because, in New Zealand, the ingredients are different. And for a long time, I thought that was lesser than the authentic versions. I didn't cook that food for any other people. It was only something I'd do at home for myself, maybe because I felt strange or weird about it. And then now I think there's a beauty in that. It was the food of that culture, but through changing countries, moving continents, it's changing as the people of that place change. There's still authenticity around, but the food of immigrants is just as beautiful as the original.
So again, if you're from a if you're from a different country than the one that you're in, don't feel like the things that you make from your culture are lesser than because you don't have those authentic ingredients. You're just making it your own.
Mm-hmm.
With that respect and honor in mind. So basically, you got to do what you got to do, but it's not lesser. It's just as can be just as good.
There are places in the world where food is a part of the culture, and culture always evolved. There are dishes that my mom had when she was a teenager, and by the time I became a teenager, those dishes had disappeared.
When I'm building on tradition, I use it as a map. Like, I want to take you on a journey. I want to show you where I'm from. This is where I currently am, and here's a peek of where I'm going with it. That's how I look at it as far as the tradition goes. You know,
Someone said ribs. Them ribs was looking good.
my spiced curried lamb. I grew up on curry.
Damn.
I also grew up on lamb, bringing the two together. Let me show you the different ways that I'm cooking it. These are still the basic ingredients, the underlying flavor palette, but this is how I go about it to really enrich it and put my own specific twist on it that you otherwise may not have thought of.
We have to like protect the beautifulness of each spot while still getting inspiration from it, but not like changing it so fundamentally that you lose its soul.
It's important that you understand the past, why you're deciding to go off a different path and use a different ingredient or take a different technique or apply different things that you've learned or eaten in different places. There needs to be thoughtfulness and reasoning behind it and not just change for the sake of change.
Any thoughts on the videos, y'all? Hope you enjoyed.
You make me hungry.
I'm hungry.
Everything looks so good.
Yes.
I love to try different dishes, you know, like other than the way I was raised. I want to get into different foods now. And that's what I'm doing. I'm learning to cook different vegetables I've never eaten and trying different things, you know, meat's cooked a certain way. I'm enjoying trying something different.
Oh, you got to. As we learned with Tori, as we get older, our taste buds change. We may not taste the same you tasted before. And I see it firsthand with some of my friends. So you got to try new things and get those taste buds reactivated, new taste, and you might start enjoying that other stuff again.
On the Today Show this morning, they had the French baguette, and they're making a sourdough one now. I can't wait to get to the store so can I find one.
Hey, Alex, I did some research on a little paragraph here on meals in Africa, if I could quickly read it.
Okay.
It says communal dining, eating with fingers, especially the right hand, and staples like grains and tubers served with flavorful stews, vegetables, and meats, emphasizing sharing and connection over formal utensils, though cutlery is common in urban settings. So what I've seen over there a lot is like you have a big bowl of meat and you have something called ugali, which is crushed corn, and people would just would eat out of the same bowl. So you grab a piece of meat and then you put it on your plate, and then someone would grab another piece of meat, and it really creates a nice communal setting. But one thing I wanted to point out, and I've seen this all over Africa, but I also seen it all over Asia, is the importance of only eating communally with your right hand. And I've seen people like jump if you would ever use your left hand to eat out of the communal bowl. Does anybody have any idea why that is?
Well, I mean, left-handedness is,
well, probably it's etiquette. Like like we cut with the knife a certain way. That's my guess. I don't know.
We hold the left hand with the fork and the right hand with the knife, but here they switch.
Well, yeah, let me tell you what it is though, and so this is in areas where keep in mind that these areas date back millions of years.
That's what they say.
And so one of the things that I was surprised about when going into rural Africa, also rural Asia, India and Bangladesh, is that the bathrooms don't have toilet paper.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They have there's typically just a hose with running water, and there's no toilet paper. So
It might even be better.
Yeah. So I'm actually not being critical. So your left hand has other uses in these countries.
Oh boy.
And then so that's why it's so taboo to share out of a communal bowl with your left hand.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so if you ever are with someone from, those rural areas, and I'm not being critical of it. I mean, in fact, my wife's been critical of me after spending so much time there. She thinks I've picked up some of their habits
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
without going into any detail. So, I'm not being critical of it.
Oh, okay, Lou. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Well,
You know,
Lou, my son, I call him my son, but what one of my sons is from Eritrea, next to Ethiopia. And
Yeah,
well, they're really Ethiopians, really. They came
yeah.
from the same place. But anyway, he eats the bread is called injera.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they pick it up. You use your hand. Now, I haven't noticed that I don't know if he uses his left hand or not. I haven't noticed that. But he picks it up with his fingers and he takes the bread and then he picks up with the bread, he picks up some meat and then he goes and picks up a vegetable and pick it. In other words, he goes around the plate and picks up a little of each thing that's on the plate and then he eats it with his hand. And
Yeah.
it's called the bread. It's injera. That's the bread, and that's what they eat at every meal. That bread.
Yeah.
yeah,
That
that's a lot of cultures.
it's a great looking bread. We used to
Yeah,
put,
yeah.
we used to put the rice on a big platter and then we spread the meat all over top of the platter. And if there's 5 people there, they have 5 spoons and they eat out of the same plate.
You eat out the same.
Or sometimes we eat the fufu by picking it up by your finger and dip it in, wash your hand first in the water. And then you pick up the rice and the thing with your fingers. But my husband was from West Africa, so sometimes I tend to eat their stuff that way, but I don't make it a lot anymore.
Oh, I love that, Louise. And yeah, I mean, everything we're talking about, they do in a lot of different cultures, and it's
Yeah,
all influenced by each other. So
you adjust yourself after a while.
Yeah.
yeah.
One of my son, the one who was here yesterday, he used to eat it with a knife and fork because they only use their fingers, and he didn't want to use his fingers.
Yeah.
So we had to adjust.
I know we're almost at time, but not to end on a sad note, but again, just thinking about the whole year, and I just think it's so important. This video is from 3 years ago, and yeah, it'll get us right at around 1:10. So we're gonna watch this video and again, learn and just see, and hear, and we're gonna quickly talk about it. And yes, thank you all so much. This is from 3 years ago, so think about today, and again, I hope you all enjoy and learn something new.
An unprecedented food crisis is
Wow.
engulfing the world, supercharged by the war in Ukraine. It's brought rising food prices, malnutrition, and the potential for much, much worse.
It threatens to tip tens of millions of people over the edge into mass hunger and famine.
This is from 3 years ago.
Global food.
Yeah, thank you.
Until recently, global hunger was in decline. But since 2014, it's been rising. Over the past 2 years, the number of people without regular access to food has more than doubled. Some 800 million people already go to bed hungry every night. And now
800 million people. Imagine there's like 8 billion people in the world. That's a lot of, that's a lot of people.
go to bed hungry every night. And now, the world's food system has been hit with a perfect storm.
2022 was already looking like a terrible year for global hunger, as COVID still continued to grip some parts of the food supply chain worldwide. You had a series of bad harvests in recent years because of climate change. This all disrupted food production.
Those two shocks, climate change and the pandemic, have meant that, according to one estimate, global supply of wheat, one of the world's most important carbohydrates, has fallen for the first time in 4 years.
And then the war happened.
Ukraine's food exports all but stopped, trapping around 25 million tons of corn and wheat inside the country.
Isn't that something?
Equivalent to the annual consumption of all of the world's least developed economies.
Ukraine's food exports are hugely important to the global food supply. It's a big powerhouse in terms of grain production. It's one of the world breadbaskets.
And with that breadbasket off the market, prices rocketed.
Imagine if you were buying your food from Ukraine, and now, let's say you need to go to Canada, or Australia, or Argentina. That means that you will have to pay more because of extra freight, and you will have to pay more in time because it will take you longer, and you will pass these costs to the consumer.
And other shocks have made the crisis worse.
We are in uncharted territory because not only do we have a food crisis with multiple causes, but also this is coming on top of an energy crisis and also a fertilizer crisis.
Farms run on fuel and fertilizer. As prices of both have risen, farmers' profit margins have been squeezed. And if they're forced to cut back on fertilizer because it's too expensive or unavailable, their yields will fall even more, at the worst possible time.
Again, just going on a bit, we know about farmers and farms now, so...
Even worse.
جعت ما لا ولا جعت لا سمية
Tunisia.
لا زيت لا سكر لا تاخذ دبوسة زيت وتقولي أنا دراش أخذت جعت ما لا ولا جعت لا سمية لا زيت لا سكر لا تاخذ دبوسة زيت وتقولي أنا دراش أخذت.
For Suad, the food crisis has already hit home. She's been selling hobstabuna, a traditional Tunisian bread made with semolina, for the last 35 years. Now the cost of her ingredients are going up, and customers are buying less, leaving her with less money to feed her family.
صعبة تمشي الزيت غلاء السميد غلاء اللي كان يخفي 5 و6 ولا ياخذ خبزتين ولا 3 تقطع السميد حبسه على صغاره وعلى دار يصرف.
Tunisia usually imports about 42% of its wheat from Ukraine and relies on it for sunflower oil, another crucial commodity. With those imports gone, Tunisia has struggled to find other suppliers it can afford, meaning shortages for people like Suad.
قبل أسهل في كل شيء وكل شيء خير موجود وكل شيء لا تلقى الواحد تو يمشي يدخل داره تلقى.
One doesn't even have a spoon of oil at home.
حتى مغرفة زيت.
In Tunisia, hunger is turning to anger. As food disappears from shelves, there's a risk Tunisians could lose patience with their government.
I'm really concerned about how this crisis can stoke civil unrest. In 2008, we saw riots in upwards of 40 countries. In 2011, we saw riots, but also the start of the Arab Spring. Today, we are looking at something which we haven't seen before.
While the Tunisian revolution in 2011 wasn't caused by higher food prices, some believe it was a contributing factor. And it's not just in Tunisia, where hunger looks set to cause problems for governments. The Economist's modelling suggests that many countries could see a doubling of the number of serious outbreaks of unrest over the next year. And it wouldn't just be anger driving this unrest, but a genuine fear of going hungry. Households in sub-Saharan Africa already spend up to 40% of their income feeding themselves. A rise in prices means millions won't be able to afford to eat.
In many, many cases,
Lou, any thoughts on what you just saw about Tunisia and other parts of Africa?
None in particular. Maybe some of the other folks have something.
Hmm. This is just a kind of a time capsule of about 3 years ago, like what was going on, and just thinking about how, today. Any other thoughts from the group?
Well, I think it's worse now.
Mm-hmm.
It's much worse now.
Worse.
Yeah.
There.
Brenda, it is.
less than 10 countries count for around 90% of our exports for key commodities like wheat, like corn, like rice, like soybean. So
less than 10% of the countries in the world export 90% of, is that what he just said?
Less than 10 countries count for around 90% of our exports for key commodities like wheat, like corn, like...
Can you, what do you think of that, y'all? Less than 10 countries in the world supply 90% of the exports in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts? Like that only 10? The main ones, 10 of them?
That's all.
Right. We really got to think about all the food that we get and where it comes from.
Rice, like soybean. So when there is a shock in any one of these countries, whether it be climate, whether it be conflict, you see the consequences of that across the world.
Some countries are trying to insulate themselves from these shocks by becoming more self-sufficient. It's an attractive idea. And this year, the World Bank announced that it's making $30 billion available to help countries become more food secure. But it's only part of the answer to avoiding another crisis.
The reality is that it's just too economically infeasible to be self-sufficient.
Most countries will always need to import some food. And as the climate crisis worsens, global food shocks are set to become ever more frequent and harder to predict. So it makes sense not to put all of your eggs in one basket.
If you are a country which relies on imports, make sure that your import base is not so small, that it is diversified. So if one country stops, somebody else can jump in. Mm-hmm. Where is our insurance for something as basic as national food security?
The world is already starting to understand the true cost of volatile prices. Absolute levels of global hunger in 2022 could be the highest ever. But without making some fundamental changes to how the world's food is supplied, the next crisis could be even more deadly.
What's it?
Again, no, not one country can, be really self-sufficient in that way. They're going to have to import some things to the country. So that's a thought of itself. You're going to have to import some things. You can be as self-sufficient as you want, but some things just can't grow in some places, right? That's what makes me think of it, and that's very true. Really quickly, our last quick video.
The food you waste is another person's meal. According to a recent statistics, every 5 seconds, a child dies as a result of hunger. Don't waste food. Before you complain about the taste of your food, think of someone who has nothing to eat at all. We have no clue how the harvesting is done. The farmers commit suicide when the harvesting is not proper. There are thousands sleeping on the roads with an empty stomach. We get the food very easily, so we waste it without realizing for a minute. Let us all make it a habit of giving the leftovers to the hunger every night before we fall asleep.
Mm. That was quite a video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's not a, for us to think about it as a sad thing, but that we're so blessed that we have,
Yeah.
we're in DC, we have all the, resources, food
Mm.
banks, we have stores right
Mhm.
next to us at a walk's convenience.
Yes.
We have technology, we can order food online, and in many ways we have, again, different resources and things of that nature. And we're so blessed for that. And in some other places and countries, as someone in the video shared, you know, it's so easy for us to get, and unfortunately in America we do waste a lot of food.
We
So
do.
in 2026, just eat the food that you buy, so that you can not waste money, but also food, because
Mm.
there are people out there with nothing to eat. So anytime I eat and feel full, I feel so blessed.
Yeah.
And now that I got to taste it, enjoy it with some of the other things that we have in our daily lives, here in DC in American 2026. But
Mm.
yes. So just I hope you all enjoyed. We learned about the foods that were sacred in ancient cultures. We looked at more than a meal. In Spain and France, we learned about from each other, about our cultures, why food is so important. Um, what's going on in other parts of the world. And just, this year, please let food influence you in trying new things. And while we do that, just think about, not wasting food and thinking of others, and just making sure we reap what we sow. So, Lou, any
Mhm.
last thoughts on today? Or seniors, I hope you enjoyed these culinary journeys.
No, I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, something definitely worth maybe doing another program on.
Mhm. Yeah, I have quite a few other videos, but just, I hope this was an inspiration for you all today, and encouraging enjoying food by other cultures and not wasting food, and just making the most of what we have, and to always feel so blessed that we have it.
That's
Any
true.
Yes.
any thoughts from our seniors before we end for today? Thank you so much. Any thoughts?
Well, I wish I could help. I mean,
Mhm.
I'd send what I have to help those folks.
Mm.
Because, like you said, we do waste a lot of food.
Yeah, I feel guilty.
Supporting the food banks, letting folks know, using the resources, sharing the resource, just by you being on this program today has made a difference. So
Yeah.
please share it with others once it gets uploaded. That's one way you can do it so easily, and you may inspire someone to make a very big change.
We send donation to each month.
I love it. Yes. Yes, many ways. Support your food banks, help your organizations, your local orgs. What you do here in DC may make a country or a world impact. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed, and looking forward to our 130 module in review. And this was a very fun session. I hope everyone enjoyed their lunch, and thank you, Lou, for hosting and bringing your worldly views. They were very much insightful, and we thank you so much for joining us today.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lou.
everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.
All right.
Next
Take
week.
care, Lou.
You-
Hello.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, everybody.
okay.
Brenda,
Thank
Louise,
you,
everybody,
everyone.
Addison, Gracie, everybody.
All right.
Bye, all.
Enjoy.
Thank
See you
you.
later, Lou.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. That
Diane.
was very interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you
interesting.
so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Alex.
See you
Lord
soon. See
know
you
you.
next week.
All right.
You can.
Thank you.